Hello everyone, Chase here, and welcome back to Chase Our Music, your channel for all things Pink Floyd. Before we get started with the video, I would just like to remind you, if you like this content, please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button, as I have plenty of big plans for this channel in the near future. Also, feel free to comment on the video as well and tell me what kind of content or what kind of videos regarding the Floyd you would like to see next. Now for today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the new release from Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd at Pompeii 1972. This release was put out by Sony a few months ago, and I am only now getting around to doing a video on it because I just recently obtained the DVD copy of the film. See, I would have done this video a lot earlier when the hype around this was a lot bigger and more people were talking about it, but at that point I only had the vinyl edition that I pre-ordered, and I wanted to wait till I had a copy of the physical film just for comparison's sake and review's sake. So now that I have both of these major copies, I figured that now would be a good time to do a review on them. I unfortunately do not have the Blu-ray copy of the film or the CD copy of the album, but they're basically the same thing as these, just in slightly different formats. So I was happy no matter what, as long as I could have the film and the vinyl record together for one video. So enough of the chit-chat, let's get started with the vinyl record. Taking a look at the record here, the cover looks amazing. It's a still from the film, I believe, or a photo of the band walking across the ruins of Pompeii with a psychedelic styled filter over it. I really love this blend of colors, like the light red, the maroon, like the blue turquoise color almost. It's a really nice combination of colors and it looks amazing. And you can see the band members just walking along up there. And on here it says Pink Floyd at Pompeii. Notice how it doesn't say live at Pompeii. That's because, according to some people, it's technically not entirely live, because some portions of the film were shot in Paris in a studio and just projected backgrounds to make it look like Pompeii. And there were a few overdubs, so it's not completely authentic and live, but that doesn't change the fact that this film is still legendary. And down here, it even says 1972 in Roman numerals right there, which I really think is a neat touch. And as you can see in the corner here, it was distributed by Columbia. And this is the first major release put out by Sony. For those of you who don't know, Sony purchased the Pink Floyd catalog back in late 2024, if I recall correctly, and ever since then they now have had the rights to releasing Pink Floyd material, which is really nice because now with the new ownership they have an opportunity to release so many amazing things that we might not have gotten before. I'm looking at a 1977 live album, Sony. Please do it. I know that you would make a lot of people happy. But anyway, going back to the review, on the back here, we have a picture of the band in the dark, which this lighting in this just looks amazing, and it's a good photo of the whole band. And on the top, we do have the track listing. On side A, we have Pompeii Intro, which is basically the little bit of music that plays before Echoes in the film, reminiscent of Speak to Me with the heartbeat. Echoes Part 1, Careful What That Axe, Eugene. And then on side B, we have A Saucer Full of Secrets and Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. On side C, we have One of These Days, Mademoiselle Knobs, and Echoes Part 2. And then side D is what I'm really excited about, because this portion of the record has some alternate unused versions of these songs that were not used in the film. We have Careful With That Axe, Eugene, which is an alternate take of the one that was used in the film, and then an unedited version of Saucer Full of Secrets, which both of them sound really amazing. I listened to this the day it came in the mail, and it was a lovely experience. I love this mix so much, especially compared to the one that came out in the early years box set. It just sounds so much better. And on the bottom here, we just have the credits of the Pink Floyd members. You got David Gilmour on vocals and guitar, Nick Mason on drums, Roger Waters on bass and vocals, and Richard Wright on keyboards and vocals. Now, on the bottom corner here, we also have recorded in the Roman Amphitheater at Pompeii, 4 through 7 October, for Pink Floyd at Pompeii, directed by Adrian Mabin, produced by Pink Floyd, 2025 remix by Steven Wilson. So like I mentioned before, this new release is a remix, and it's different from the one from the early years box set. So just know that if you're planning on purchasing this, it's not a duplicate. And like I said earlier, I just think this mix is a million times better. Plus we get some bonus tracks, like I said before, so that's another plus to get this. Now let's transition to the gatefold. Taking a look at the gatefold, we are treated to a bunch of pictures and stills from the film, which look absolutely amazing. And I'll get to the picture quality of the film a little bit later when I cover the DVD, but we have all these pictures here of the band playing and just sitting in the amphitheater. And then over on this side, we basically just have the track listing again, copyright information, the Columbia label down there, and just other management information, creative direction, a bunch of other credits. So another cool thing about this release is the little inner sleeves that the vinyl records themselves come in. So taking a look at the first one here, I'll do this off camera so I don't knock anything over. This is the first inner sleeve that has side A and side B. So on this side of the sleeve it says "Careful, Axe Eugene," which is a still from the movie when it says "Careful with an Axe Eugene" on the screen in this nice blue font that is held over from the original version of the film. And on this side we just have a picture of their gear, and it has that Pink Floyd London stamp on the back that all their gear around this time had. And then the second one, if we get that out over here, this one says "Set Controls Heart Sun," which is obviously set the controls for the heart of the sun. And this is just another photo of the amphitheater, but this is more focused on the layout of the land itself and not so much the band's gear. And the designs of the actual records themselves are pretty cool too. Let's get out the first disc. Okay, so one side looks like this. It has one of the art pieces that you can see in the film, and the other side just has the name of the album, Pink Floyd at Pompeii 1972. And then I believe the other one is very similar. It has another piece of artwork and also says Pink Floyd at Pompeii. Let's get that out then. Alright, so this is the second disc. This is the side with the artwork on it. And this side is just like the other one, except now it is black and red instead of red and white. Now there is one more goodie hidden inside the inner sleeves of this record. And what may that be? Well, it is a very large poster, which I'm going to try and unfold and show you guys. This thing is massive, so it might not be the easiest thing to see. Let me see if I can fit this on camera properly. Oh yeah, okay, that's not going to show up entirely. I might try and put a picture of the full poster on the screen so you can see the whole thing, but it is just huge. Like, you can't even fit this on camera. It's pretty much just an expanded version of the artwork with the same kind of picture of the band walking across the amphitheater. And then there's this little tagline up on the top that says, "More than a movie, an explosive cinema concert." So this is just another reason to purchase this, because you'll get an amazing movie poster replica inside the package. So in conclusion, for the vinyl record, I highly recommend this for any diehard Pink Floyd fan. This film showcases the band at the peak of their power, right before they hit it big with Dark Side of the Moon. Plus, you get some awesome versions of some classic live tracks that the Floyd were playing a lot in this era of the band. And if you know me, you know I am a sucker for those early years of Floyd before they really got big, because they just go so underappreciated by the general music public and all that. And I just think that this era deserves much more appreciation than it gets. So I highly recommend picking this set up if you can find it. I don't know if it'll be sold out anywhere near you, but you'd most likely be able to find this at like a nearby record store if you live near one, because a lot of the ones that I go to have this in. So yeah, if you can come buy it in a store or wherever, or just order it online, please do. I think you will not be disappointed. You will absolutely love this. I don't see why you wouldn't. So now with that out of the way, let's transition over to the DVD. Alright, so here is the DVD version, and this should not take as long as the record to review and look at. But as you can see from the front cover, it's kind of like a smaller version of the vinyl artwork. But one thing I have noticed is that the colors are almost inverted, because on the vinyl record and the CD artwork too, I guess, the sky portion is red, and the bottom portion here is blue. But in this one, it's flipped around, which I think is pretty unique. And once again, you can see that Columbia logo up in the top corner, signifying that Sony is now the distributor of this stuff. Same title, Pink Floyd at Pompeii, 1972. On the back cover, it's very similar to the vinyl edition, except it has some different information up here. It says, feature film, Pompeii intro, Echoes Part 1, Careful with That Axe, Eugene, A Saucer Full of Secrets, Us and Them, One of These Days, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun, Brain Damage, Mademoiselle Knobs, and Echoes Part 2. Now, the reason it has some extra songs on here, like Us and Them, Brain Damage, and stuff like that, is because this version of the film has studio footage from when the band were working on The Dark Side of the Moon. And this footage was included in the original theatrical version from '74 and on the director's cut from 2003, which we will take a look at in a little bit just for comparison. But yeah, that's another reason why this is such a good film, because it shows the band working on what would essentially become their biggest, most famous album of all time. And it's really interesting to see how different things were for the band before they really hit it big. And yeah, down here you just got the same kind of licensing information, credits of the band members, the DVD logo, and just a bunch of other licensing mumbo jumbo. Now here's where it gets interesting. The inside has a really interesting setup. Like, the disc is in here in this little slot, and then this side has a little booklet. I don't have a lot of DVD cases that are in this style, but I do know a lot of newer ones, especially for like music and concert films, have been using this style, because Roger Waters' Us and Them tour had a concert film come out a few years ago, and it was packaged in a very similar case. So I don't know what the push for that is. I don't know if they're more sustainable or whatever and don't use as much plastic. That might have something to do with it, but I always thought these were kind of weird. I'm not the biggest fan of them because it's a little difficult to get the disc out without potentially scratching it or damaging it. But anyway, besides that, this is still a nice little inside of the DVD case, because you still have a lot of the same photos just kind of split in half to fit on the sides of the case. Kind of like a combination of the artwork from the vinyl inner sleeves. So let's get the disc out here real quick. I might have to do this off camera just because I don't really like how these cases work and I don't want to knock the camera over. Alright, so we got the disc out. It is on a pink disc. feature film and concert. Pink Floyd at Pompeii, 1972. We got the DVD logo, Dolby Digital, all the licensing info up here. And there's the back. Oh wow, that is reflective. You can see my face in that. Anyway. Yep, there's the disc. Similar font to the cover and to the records that I showed you earlier. And now we can get out the booklet and just look through that. If I remember correctly, this design is kind of similar to the inner sleeves. I mean, this part is at least, because it says set controls, heart, sun, like set the controls for the heart of the sun. Now let's look through this. Yeah, this is kind of similar stuff to what the inside of the vinyl gatefold and the inner sleeves had. Same stuff, song titles, credits, more images, which look really nice. More credits, you can read those and pause the video if you want. Some behind the scenes footage of all the gear, some pictures from the film, and this lovely picture of the band sitting atop the amphitheater with some interesting coloration going on, and it just looks really nice. And the back just has this little pattern here too, which was in the beginning of the Saucer Full of Secrets segment in the film, I believe. If that's wrong, I'm gonna feel so stupid, but I'm pretty sure that's what that's from. So yeah, there's the DVD. Now, just for comparison's sake, let's bring in this DVD. Some of you guys might remember this. This is the Pink Floyd at Pompeii Director's Cut. So what this was basically, in 2003, Universal Music, I believe, distributed this. This DVD came out, and it was essentially a director's cut of the original theatrical version from 1974, with a lot of added stuff that honestly wasn't very good in my opinion. A lot of fans see this as the inferior version, and once you realize why, it all makes perfect sense. For example, the beginning of the film has a lot of CGI scenery and effects added in, which just look incredibly dated by today's standards. And not to mention, it's in 16:9. For those of you who don't know, it's basically widescreen, if you're not an expert on aspect ratios. 4:3 is like the full screen version, which is what the original film was shot in, and what this new version from 2025 was shot in. But this one here is in 16:9 widescreen for some reason, which I do not like because it obscures a lot of the action and a lot of the footage, and I don't really like it. And another thing too is that there's also a bunch of other added footage, which is kind of cool, I guess. But it's more studio footage. It's just black and white compared to the original footage in the studio from the theatrical release. But other than that, I mean, it's not really a great version of the film. Now, I sound like I really hate this version, but I can't really hate it. You see, this version of the film is super nostalgic to me because when I was younger and first getting into the Floyd, this was like the version of the film I grew up watching. I didn't own the VHS and could never find it anywhere, so I just settled for this for a long time. And that's why I was really happy when I found out that a proper remastered remix version of the theatrical cut was coming out. So I could finally have the definitive version of the film on physical media. So the cover here is obviously very different. It's a picture of Roger's silhouette with the gong when he's about to hit it. A very iconic shot from the film, by the way. And there's a lot of like a red and orange kind of color scheme on the front, and down here it just says Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii Director's Cut. See, that's the difference here too. Live at Pompeii versus just Pink Floyd at Pompeii. So it's a little more truthful now, I guess you could say. The spine looks like this. This one actually really has a proper spine because the other one doesn't really. It's just super thin. Got all that info, the DVD logo. And then the back, you can read that little blurb if you want. I'm not going to read it just to save time because I've already rambled enough. Yeah, that's basically it. It was distributed by Universal Music, as you can tell from that logo down there. Now,
It's in a special, like, weird plastic slim case type of thing. I don't know if that's the right terminology. I'm not really a DVD expert, but I know a thing or two about them. Here's the disc, obviously quite different from the pink and white disc from the new version. Once again, you got the licensing info, Universal Music, and the booklet here. I don't know what's all in here, or if it's anything really. Let me just set that down off to the side. Just Roger with the gong, licensing info, and then just this, which has some pictures of the band. A lot of these pictures are actually in one of the bonus features on this disc, which just has a photo gallery from the film, essentially, and photos from around that era. And then this little area is pretty cool. It just says Pink Floyd live at Pompeii, the director's cut, and letters going down like this. And yeah, that's basically the director's cut version. Like I said before, this is kind of the inferior version to most fans, including myself. So if you want a physical copy of Live at Pompeii, this is the way to go. This looks beautiful. I actually saw this in theaters in IMAX back in April when they did those limited screenings. I went with a friend of mine, and we both loved it, and it looked amazing on the big screen. So in conclusion, I highly recommend this film and this album for any diehard Pink Floyd fan who loves the early years of the band and loves this era of the band specifically, and just anybody who loves Pink Floyd, because this is the band at their full power before they really showed the world what they had with Dark Side of the Moon. This is an iconic film. The new restored footage looks incredible. You can see all the fine details you never would have seen on like the VHS copy or even the director's cut here. And it's just beautiful. The remix by Steven Wilson is magnificent and worlds better than the 2016 remix on the early years box set. If you are a diehard Pink Floyd fan like myself, I highly recommend that you pick this set up. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Pink Floyd content to come.